Now that the quarter is wrapping up, make sure to log your 6 hours of outreach and make sure you have attended all 5 classes. And if you need to make up a session, go ahead and log on to healthandhomelessness.com and just follow the instructions. And then, so some volunteer opportunities that are coming up on November 20th. We need some dental students to teach some pre-dentals how to suture. And that's going to be here on campus, and it's through, in partnership with the School of Medicine. And also on Saturday, January 14th, Tulip Reservation, we need some students to encourage Native American youth to pursue a career in dentistry as well. NCTA is coming up. We have an event on Saturday and then another one on December 10th. And Union Gospel Mission has events on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And if you are signed up or you're planning to possibly sign up in the future, make sure to register online before attending. Casa Latina is still in the works. We believe it may be January or February, but we'll keep you guys updated. And so today we have Carolyn Dougherty and Dr. Lisa Kajimura. Carolyn is a program manager at Recovery Cafe and has been working there ever since she was an intern from Seattle University's Masters in Couples and Family Therapy. Dr. Kajimura graduated from the University of Washington School of Dentistry back in 1994 and has been volunteering abroad in Thailand and Mexico, as well as locally at UGM and through MTI's dental van at Recovery Cafe. So everyone please welcome Carolyn and Dr. Kajimura. Actually, first of all, we're going to watch the video, and then they're going to come up and talk to you guys.
I lost my housing, I lost my job, I lost the people in my life.
It was a career, it was a family, it was being a drug addict. And I committed to that, I made a choice to commit to being a drug addict.
My addiction took me all the way to homelessness.
So I found my way to an overpass and was going to jump off that overpass in front of a passing semi. I heard a voice and it kind of stopped me from what I was doing. And I realized that at that point, I didn't really want to die. I just didn't know how to live.
I had been around people that were using my whole life. That was in the back of my mind what I always kind of expected myself anyway.
I was sexually molested and ended up at 14 years old pregnant. And my mother put me in an unborn mother's home. That's where I learned about all this.
Because I remember being told stories about how they put the stuff in my bottle as a baby. And I've been drinking ever since.
Drugs and drug dealing and intoxication and parties and things like that were just part of my furthest memory as far back as I can remember.
I thought that people that would talk about hearing voices, I thought they were pretty much crazy until it actually happened to me.
Trying to swallow the fact that I was making a choice for my daughter not to have a father and that she would be better off.
It's easy once you've been there to feel as though you still belong there.
When I was in treatment this last time, there was this girl there from Seattle. She was telling me about this place called the Recovery Cafe. She was like, they have food and yoga and coffee and meetings and art classes and all this stuff. And it was like, you know, too big to be true almost.
Found my way down to the Recovery Cafe because I knew they had 12-step meetings.
The moment you walk in the front doors, they make you welcome, they know your name. We are all a big family.
So when I came here and found just a space where I could, you know, embark on this new journey that I was about to go on and not have to feel like completely alone.
I had absolutely no self-worth in my life, but evidently they felt different. They kept asking me to come back in and be a part of their community.
But the fact that we're here, utilizing the facility, we're eating here, the cafe itself provides a place for me to be.
And to get with my recovery circle weekly, and to know that those people are going to be constant each week.
I find myself as treasurer of that group. I'm actually a trusted servant for the cafe.
We started a young adult meeting here at the cafe that's been really successful.
I help lead 12-step meetings in the cafe. Because once they get it, you see the light come on in their eyes.
I offer to them my experience that I've had with the cafe and hope that will inspire them.
All kinds of groups available, there are classes available, there's art to do.
I volunteered, I got involved, and it wasn't too long before I felt a lot different about myself. I started feeling like I had worth.
Well, I was really medicating the feeling of uselessness.
Feelings of hopelessness.
It started to just be running for myself more than anything. And then get further and further away, and having no family, no connection to anyone.
As an alcoholic, I was pretty much emotionally stunted. So I didn't really have the tools to work through it. I had to watch my dad be electrocuted and die in front of me. Yeah, I was 9 or 10 years old at the time when that incident happened. Once I got to the cafe and started talking with various people and going through various classes I was in, I was finally able to break free from that and get that out of my system. And it freed up a lot inside of me.
Giving other people the opportunity to grow and to realize some things about themselves that they may not have known before.
The field that I'm going to go into is phlebotomy, which is drawing blood. Because of being an intravenous drug addict, I do know how to do this, and I do it quite well from when I was using.
You know, people that come in here that aren't with their kids, that they can get back to their kids, and they can be a parent.
A life where I can help people, be of service, to take the time to explore and find out who I am.
The cafe was my place of refuge, my place of knowing I was going to be safe.
If I hadn't found the Recovery Cafe, I wouldn't have the foundation that the rest of my life has been built on.
If it wasn't for Recovery Cafe, there's a very good chance that I would be dead today.
I wish I was supposed to belong to. You know, I belong here.
You know, they were just there when I needed somebody.
Something changed inside me. Look wide open, all spilled out. Till I had no doubt that something changed. Never would have believed it till I felt it in my own heart. In that deepest part, something changed inside me. Broke wide open, all spilled out. Till I had no doubt that something changed.
Hi, everybody. My name's Carolyn Dougherty. I am one of the fabulous team members at Recovery Cafe. This is Dr. Lisa Kajimura, who is one of our, am I talking too loud? No. I talk really loud. I come from the South, and if you're trying to figure out my accent, I'm native Kentuckian. I've been in Seattle, though, for a very long time, because I know a lot of people tune into accents. I myself am a woman in long-term recovery. That means that at one point in my life, I used drugs and alcohol, and then I had an awakening, and I haven't had to do that ever since. I've been working, yeah, it's a miracle. Thank you, thank you. It is a miracle. It is a miracle because I come from a long line of alcoholics. You know, I grew up in Kentucky, and Kentucky's economy is based on 3 vices: tobacco, gambling, and booze. And my family was involved in all 3. So I grew up in a world where drinking was normalized. It was part of everyday life. So enough about me. Recovery Cafe. I'm pointing to this, it's not there anymore. We consider ourselves a refuge for healing and hope. That's one of our little taglines. A refuge. What does refuge mean? A safe place. A safe place for people to heal. A safe place for people to get a cup of coffee. A safe place to have a connection with themselves. For many of the people that we serve, trauma is the overarching shared experience. You know, you heard about Rick watching his dad die when he was 9 years old, being electrocuted. The trauma that our members have experienced is as vast as an ocean. Everything from early childhood experiences growing up with drug-addicted or alcoholic parents, homelessness, sexual abuse, domestic violence, poverty, but the most critical trauma that I have seen in my work in this area is the trauma associated with self-hatred and shame. And from what I've seen in this area of recovery, that seems to be a very common thread. That internal conversation that says, there is something wrong with me, and maybe picking this up is going to fix it. And so at Recovery Cafe, we come up with all kinds of fantastic ways that people can work against that conversation. It might be a yoga class. We have a full-on yoga program that operates 6 days a week. You can come and be trained and be certified as a yoga teacher as a result of participating in that program for free. We have art classes. We have a full school for recovery with classes that include things like, I'm trying to think of some of the ones we had this quarter. We had a class on relapse prevention. Once I've stopped, how do I stay stopped? Whatever that behavioral piece is I'm trying to change. We have meditation classes, book studies. We've got a class coming up in this winter on the 4 agreements. Don Miguel Ruiz's book, which if you have not read, I strongly encourage you to read it. It's a fantastic little, very short book about 4 agreements we can all make to have a new experience in this life. We are a membership organization. Membership is free. Membership has kind of a 3-legged stool. One is that you are drug and alcohol free for 24 hours before you walk in our door, whether you identify as a drug addict or alcoholic or not. The other one is that you attend a weekly recovery circle, which you heard people allude to in the video. We have 40 a week at the cafe. We have 4 off-site right now. Other organizations have asked us to come in and facilitate these recovery circles. They are not 12-step based, which you heard a little bit about in here too. They are a very unique form of recovery support where the same people get together every week and share how it's going for them. It's a place to be known. Because one of the things that we as an organization, and I think many of us who work in this field have come to believe, is that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. Being connected to other people in a community that is safe, where I may not know everybody's name, but I do know your name. I do know your name. And so we try to create that type of experience at Recovery Cafe. We serve 2 meals a day, 5 days a week. We have, you probably saw our fabulous espresso machine, because what would say more in a town like this than to be able to walk up to a counter and say, I'd like a triple macchiato pumpkin spice with whipped cream, right? A lot of the people we serve don't have the financial resources to walk into Starbucks, or because they're carrying everything they own, are not welcome in any coffee shop. So we try to create a community experience where people feel loved and to begin to recognize that they have something to give. And so many of the people that we serve, we practice something at the cafe that's called radical hospitality. We actually have an AmeriCorps position. I know you're working with an AmeriCorps student here, or I guess you don't call yourself students, AmeriCorps participant. And her title is Radical Hospitality Coordinator. I mean, is that like the most awesome job title you've ever heard? Her first job out of college, Radical Hospitality Coordinator. We practice radical hospitality. And if any of you all walk in our door, which I encourage any of you all to do when you're in the Denny Triangle area down in downtown Seattle, come in and see what radical hospitality feels like. It's an incredible experience because we believe that meeting people where they are is how we start building a relationship. Creating a safe place for people to heal is job number one. We have a huge volunteer cache of souls that come and serve us, including Dr. Lisa, who's involved with the mobile clinic, Medical Teams International. But we have volunteers that start as young as middle school kids, all the way through retirees. We have about 500 a year that come through our doors. And how our volunteers serve us is we have this very kind of pie-in-the-sky kind of belief that if we get people together who normally would not mix, that is the housed, or as we like to say, the home blessed and the homeless, the addict and the teetotaler, the Republican and the Democrat, the religiously based and the atheists, if we get them together in a safe place so that we can look at our commonalities instead of focusing on our differences, this world's going to be a better place. And so through our volunteer program, we do that. We bring people who have great privilege and great financial resources to be alongside those that may be sleeping across the street in our parking lot tonight. And they start changing how they look at each other. Now, as it relates to dental care, because I know that's what we're here to talk about, among other things. My experience at the cafe and as a caregiver is the number one, the number one outcome of not being able to receive dental care is deepening sense of shame and self-hatred. I mean, and as you've probably noticed in our culture, we like to blame the victim. Anybody notice that? If you are unhoused or if you don't have a job, it's because of something you did. This is a flat-out lie. This is a flat-out lie. We know somewhere along the line, the cultural safety net fell apart. It may have been when someone was 5 years old and grew up with heroin-addicted parents. It may have been when they were raped and no one believed them. It may have been when they lost their job and lost their paycheck and lost their home. We somehow believe that you are responsible and you probably didn't try hard enough. So when you start believing that, what does that do? That deepens shame, that deepens that sense of, there's something really wrong with me. That can lead to all kinds of unhealthy behavioral choices. The people that I serve that are sitting there, the recovering meth addicts, let's say, I know you all probably know more deeply what methamphetamines do to the mouth. I see it from a different point of view, in that I don't understand the biology of it all. But, good luck getting a job if you don't have any teeth. Good luck. Good luck getting a job or getting your back on your feet when you're in so much pain you can't eat solid food because your teeth are falling out. And the only option for you is to get them all pulled out. Because we're not going to fix you. We're not going to give you a crown. Right? We're just going to yank all your teeth out. And good luck finding a pair of choppers, or whatever, dentures, for under, the least amount I can find is $350. If anybody knows a resource for inexpensive dentures, please, please, please give it to me before you leave. Because, yeah, they'll be happy, public health clinic will be happy to pull your teeth. But to, then where are you? We know that people that don't have teeth, they can't chew their food. I do know a little bit about digestion. And we know that, I forgot what the percentage of, happens in the mouth, right? So if I can't start that process here, going down the line, it can be very, very troublesome and lead to all kinds of medical problems, which I'm going to let Dr. Lisa talk about. Overall, though, I'm so deeply grateful because I know this is an elective class, and that gives me great hope. That gives me great, great hope. I'm a caregiver that's on the way out of the caregiving realm to the extent I'm currently involved, and it just absolutely thrills me to be in the presence of the next generation of caregivers coming in that brought you to this class because of some deep sense of being responsible for the next guy. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Dr. Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Kajimura. My practice is in Bellevue. It's hard for me to believe it was more than 20 years ago that I was sitting where you guys are. And like Carolyn, I think it's pretty incredible that you guys have a class like this. I'm really not going to talk about the medical side of things, but I really want to talk about I feel that it's our duty to give back. And the way I got involved with Recovery Cafe is that one of Carolyn's coworkers is a personal friend, and she made it known that they have grant money to bring the van to the cafe once a month, but there was staffing issues. So I volunteered because there was a need, and through that, though, I became more exposed to the work of the cafe. And so now I feel like I'm a piece in helping somebody else get to a better place. And I've experienced that also at Union Gospel Mission, and it sounds like some of you guys have rotations there too. And I just would strongly, strongly encourage you guys to give back when you're at a place where you can do that. Places like the UGM and MTI, the dental van, make it easy to do it. You don't have to, you just give of your skills and your time. Sometimes bringing people into your office is a little harder. Do you guys have specific questions?
I have a question. Do you follow up if there's an adverse outcome? They happen sometimes. Do you follow up on them, or
No, I don't know what the
they
protocol
find,
is.
MTI finds the care? Okay.
Yeah, MTI is phenomenal, and you all are familiar with them. They only operate in 2 states in the United States, Washington and Oregon. Most of their work is done
International.
overseas, and we're so blessed to have them. If you all been in that van, it's amazing to me. It's a full-on clinical two seats, and we maintain files for them on our site, and then when there's a need for a follow-up, let's say, when there's a need for a follow-up, we get them in at the next clinic. If there's a dramatic experience in the dental van, which to my experience there hasn't been, we don't generally see people in that setting that need really to have oral surgery or something like that, and they do have some referrals available. They're very, very tough to get in with. I know you all have a fantastic clinic here, and we have a member that just after participating in your clinic for, I think it was about a year, finally just got his teeth. And he is, he's just apoplectic with joy.
What services do you provide them? More like emergency services or routine services? I guess what services do you provide?
In the dental van?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty much set up as a standard operatory, so a lot of it's pain management, toothaches, so a lot of extractions, some fillings. Anything beyond that gets referred out. There is a big need for hygiene. And yeah, for some reason, I don't know why a lot of hygienists don't want to volunteer, but there is a big need for that. So some of that happens.
Well, and to Dr. Lisa's credit, she brings her own hygienist from her office.
Well, she wants to come.
Well, I know she does, and she's awesome. And her name is Kim Chen, and just an outstanding, caring soul. And when we can offer hygiene for people, because, I mean, people know, I need to get my teeth cleaned, right? And, but a lot of times without access to a situation like this, the public health clinics will extract your teeth. They will not help you keep your teeth. They just don't have the funds to do that. So, getting involved in legislative advocacy might be something you all think about with the American Dental, with your dental society. Yes.
I have a question. I'm just curious about logistics, but how do you go about enforcing your 24-hour rule of sobriety before you enter the clinic? Or
The cafe?
Yeah.
That's a great question. A lot of people ask us that. Basically, it's honor system. And if you are a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, it's pretty easy to spot when people aren't clean. And our members are also very skilled at noticing such things. People do slip through, and sometimes we don't notice it till later on in the day, and then we have a conversation. It gives us a chance to have a conversation, which is a big piece of what we do. And we always say, just get 24 and come back tomorrow. Or there are 12-step meetings in our building. And 12-step meetings refer to Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. I think there's 85 different human behavioral issues that have utilized the 12 steps as a way to change your life. So one need not be clean and sober to go to any of those types of meetings, so we'll refer there. The only requirement for being a member of Alcoholics Anonymous is a desire to stop drinking. So that's what we'll do. We always welcome people back, though. The third, fourth, 100th time. We are definitely the world of second chances. Anybody else?
Another question. How medically complex are the parties?
Yeah, they actually are surprisingly not that complex. Yeah, not a lot of meds. Yeah, they seem very stable, relatively.
Yeah.
So Hep C,
And that, yeah.
Well, overall, because any clinic, I think the most we've been able to run through there is like 10 people. Yeah. Overall, within the cafe community, there are a lot of people that are managing some pretty dramatic medical stuff. Drinking and using and poverty take years off people's lives. And so a lot of times with some of the people that we serve have just been so disregarded by themselves and the system for so long that they are in very poor health. And that's pretty system-wide, though. I think, outside of our community as well, people that just don't have access. Thanks to the Affordable Care Act, which hopefully is going to continue on into this new regime, a lot of people got services over the last couple of years that were just left out on their own, or to just go to the emergency room for care. So we're hoping that will continue.
What are some of your other locations at, or do you have other locations?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. We are a 501c3, which is a nonprofit organization. We rely on the kind-heartedness of others to survive. We don't generate money, we just spend it, like all nonprofits. We have created a mechanism by which people can come to us and replicate our model of care. And there has been one opened up, and they're each a unique 501c3 themselves. There's one in Tacoma, Everett, one is just opening up in Spokane, and San Jose has opened one a couple of years ago. And we're working with we have a dedicated staff person that supports others in replicating what we're doing. My awesome boss, the director of programs, Ruby Takushi, who's one of the founders of the cafe, spent an inordinate amount of time with others developing a document that is kind of the blueprint for how to do what we do and the way we do it.
What are some sources of your funding?
Good question. I think the predominant source of our funding are individual human beings whose lives have been touched by alcoholism, addiction, or mental health, writing checks, wanting to participate in solution in a new model of care. We also have grant writers on staff that, United Way, Gates Foundation. We've gotten one SAMHSA grant, Substance Abuse Mental Health Administration, which is a federal, kind of where the money flows federally and then it comes down to the states. We've gotten one of those grants. We also participate with an organization with a program that comes through the federal government into the state of Washington and then out to organizations called Access to Recovery. We generate some money that way. That's specifically for people in drug and alcohol recovery only to participate in that particular program. Many of the people that we serve are in what we call the co-occurring disorders umbrella, mental health challenges, substance use disorder challenges. How those got siloed is still a mystery to me, because I don't know how you divide. It's kind of like how the mouth got separated from the body with health insurance. I mean, you're just like, how'd that happen? But it happened. The good news is in behavioral health, system-wide, we are conjoining mental health services and substance use disorder services under one umbrella. So when I go to my treatment counselor, if I'm a recovering heroin addict and want to talk about how my depression related to a life experience, they're not going to say to me, hey, stop, you got to go talk to the mental health guy about that. Or if I'm over there talking to my mental health counselor about my depression, and they might say, wow, I'm wondering if you might want to think about how shooting heroin every day might be part of why your life isn't going the way you want it to. That hopefully is going to start changing in this new era. But we do know that the number one portal for people going into treatment and into recovery are people just like you, healthcare providers. So becoming skilled at having conversations with people is really going to benefit so many people. I want to really encourage you, if you don't know about 12-step recovery, Alcoholics Anonymous, NA, all those things, learn about it. Learn about it. Talk to people who are in recovery. Get a sense of what this is about, because you are going to encounter people every single day whose dental health is directly impacted by using drugs and alcohol. I mean, I think it's just that, it may not be every patient, but their using may contribute to their lack of self-care, right? It may not be a direct biological connection, so I really want to honor that part of you that wants to know more about this.
Is there a range of ages that you tend to see more so than others? Like, what's the least?
We serve people older, 18 and over. I would say at our population, we currently in membership, we have about 325 people. About the maximum we can serve is 350. And I would say at this particular snapshot in time, our median age is late 30s, early 40s. I would love to get them earlier. you know.
Are there many pregnant women?
We've had our fair share. Yeah. We have a staff member who's about ready to have a baby, and we do have a member right now who's pregnant. Yes. Yes.
With Macklemore's publicity and advocacy, has that made an impact with your organization, the clients that come to you and whatnot?
That's a great question. You all did see Prescription for Change, right? Yeah. And I will be signing autographs afterwards. Just kidding. God, that was an amazing experience. Ben, grew up here in Seattle. You probably know that. Anyway, and he has been a friend of the cafe for a long time through some of our circles of connections that we run in and that we have that support what we're doing. And so he had done a PSA for us prior to Prescriptions for Change, which you can find on YouTube. And I would say directly what I see every day on the floor at the cafe, no. What I do see that Prescription for Change has done is it's just bringing the conversation into a wider audience, which is so important. It's so important. Because stigma is the #1 defense against getting better. I mean, how many people have you encountered in the clinic here that have shame because they haven't come to the dentist in 5 years or whatever? I don't know, maybe not any. Or they have a lot of shame around. There's so much shame associated with addiction and alcoholism. So any way we can bring somebody like Ben into the picture that says, hey, I'm a recovering addict, and I know if I don't do this thing, I'm going to lose everything. I mean, what you didn't get to hear, because the pieces that they put in the film, I mean, that talking circle went on for 2 hours. So you can imagine there's a lot that wasn't. There's a whole lot that wasn't in there. And Ben's story of being at South by Southwest at the top of the chart and wanting to just cash it all in because of his addiction. And that was really just one of those awakening moments when he's looking at his beautiful wife, this beautiful baby, and said, I got to do something different. And so we are so blessed to have him utilizing his fame to bring the message that, this stuff kills people every day. I mean, it's irregardless of color, creed, socioeconomic status. And stigma keeps people from getting help. So education is one of the greatest ways to dismantle stigma. Coming out as a person in recovery is another way. It's kind of like what happened back in the 80s with HIV/AIDS. If there wasn't ACT UP, we would have lost a lot more friends in the 80s. But gay folks stood up and said, hey, I'm gay, and this thing's killing my people. Well, guess what? Drugs and alcohol are killing many people every day. The overdose epidemic, as you know, is off the chart. So, I could go on for hours about this stuff.
Does Recovery Cafe provide any resources to find housing or jobs for any of your recovery?
We do not do any direct case management, but we bring in providers that can support that, because there are organizations that are specifically related to housing, let's say, or employment training. We work closely with Fair Start, which is a culinary arts training program. We take circles there to their building twice a week, because many of those people are in drug and alcohol recovery and in recovery from long-term incarceration, which you can imagine has its own set of unique challenges. Fair Start got connected with DOJ, Department of Justice, a few years back as a next step for people coming out. And I do circles down there, and I'm sitting with people who are coming out of 15 years of incarceration. You can imagine, the challenges associated with that.
Statistically, what's the breakdown of the drugs, or the most common, are most people they've had opioid problems or like cocaine, or like what do you see if you're in Seattle?
In Seattle or at the cafe?
At the cafe?
At the cafe?
When most people are recovering.
Yeah, that's a really good question because it's self-reported. When people come into our world and become part of the cafe community, we have what we call new member introduction. At that time, people fill out a survey, which we just started about a year ago, so that we can track how your participation in our program has affected the changes that you hope to make. We just started doing that last year. But we ask people to check off their recovery issues, and we have a big list of things. Drugs, alcohol, mental health, homelessness, but it's really self-reporting. So I would say in our current realm, I would say at least 2/3 of the people that we serve identify as people in recovery from drugs and alcohol. Maybe even up to 75%. It kind of vary. Yeah, we kind of lump substance use disorder in one bucket and don't tease out, how many heroin addicts, because generally it's polysubstance abuse, Here's a crack pipe, here's a, hit of this, I'll take whatever you got, what do you got, or how 16-ouncer, right? So we don't really separate out those. We have people that are involved in medically assisted treatment, such as methadone. We don't have a line on what's the way. We are here to create a supportive environment for you to figure out what's your way. And that's how we approach this. Any other questions?
Thank you. Any dental questions?
Yes.
Any bleeding issues?
Oh, when you're in the van? Oh, God, okay.
Bleeding issues. With your patients, yeah. Excessive bleeding.
Not so much with what I do, is restoratively, even with the extractions, it's all been,
Wow.
How about need for anesthesia, higher levels of local anesthesia?
not so
Okay, good.
much.
Great.
Not that I've noticed, at least the few times I've gone.
Well,
Thank you very much.
thank
you
you.
for having
Thank you.